back to our future food talks there at Square. And today we're speaking with Christine Smith, who founded Rowville Community Kitchen, which is a not for profit organisation that looks after feeding people. But there's a lot more to feeding people, of course. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you. It's been great to catch up from sunny Melbourne at the moment. The sun has finally come out. Still in lockdown, unfortunately, but looking Sunday to have greater freedom, I think. So we'll see how we go.
Good. So tell me a little bit about Rowville. What was your initial idea behind commencing Rowville Community Kitchen?
I started the kitchen just over 10 years ago, and it came about because I was working within job services and felt I could actually achieve better results than what I was achieving by working with job seekers on a more face-to-face, one-to-one way, rather than sitting across a desk and then pushing them towards applying for jobs, because a lot of them had multiple barriers to work and they needed to be worked on first. So I set up the kitchen and used food as a catalyst to actually changing behaviours and attitudes. Did that for 6 years and then decided on a different business model after I was approached by a training organisation to work with VCAL students with intellectual and learning disabilities. Again, still using food, still actually keeping the base business idea. So they not only gained an accredited qualification, which is good, however, they got solid hands-on training and experience, not only in the kitchen, but also with working front of house, serving at our community lunches. So all the food that they prepped and cooked and tried during the week was then put together into meals on a Thursday around shared tables in another room for anyone in the community that wanted to come in and share a meal. So they didn't have to be struggling financially. It was more about come in, have a meal, but come and have some friends and have a laugh. Men Shared were fabulous. They were great supporters of us by helping to mend things at a cheaper price, if you like. Bad dad jokes, trust me, there were plenty of those every single week. So it was a two-way street. We were giving a service, but the community initially didn't realise what they were giving back to us. There was lots of jokes, lots of laughs, a lot of hugs, both when people came in and out. And it was interesting how they missed you if you weren't there when you first opened the door.
Yeah.
They would then say, well, where have you been? You know, we've been here half an hour, we're on coffee, and you've only just turned up. I go, well, I actually had a few other things to do as well. So it was interesting. Their perception changed. They actually realised they were contributing, not just accepting a service.
Yeah. Well, I've been fortunate enough to actually come along to a couple of the lunches, and I can tell you the feeling of just love and compassion and empathy, and barriers are broken down. You could be sitting next to the Lord Mayor on one side and someone who's homeless on the other side, and it's a completely level playing field. Well, I mean, for someone to run an operation like that for 10 years, I'm sure that you must have seen some things. What really beautiful, touching things have really touched you over those years?
Oh, I'll be honest, there have been a lot. I hope the editing team's really good. So I think it was interesting because one of the things I considered was a home delivery service and not having the community lunches. And someone said to me, you have to be joking. They said, and the comment was, this is where the magic happens.
Yeah.
So it's about relationships. The food is just the catalyst. And the relationships, and it's two-way again. you know, we've had Coles come in and volunteer. Bunnings have sent in volunteers regularly, and they really want to come in. It's not me trying to begging them, please
dragging
help.
them in. Yeah, come and help, come and help.
No, they want to come in because they say they have so much fun and they actually see and understand what's really happening at the grassroots level. Where, you know, we're just there. You know, people ring and they say, this is what we need. If that's what I can do, that's what I can do.
So the learnings that you've had personally over the couple of years have put you in a position now where you're working on something of your own. So do you want to tell me a little bit more about your new project?
Well, COVID has disrupted that whole relationship side of our business. We have not been able to train people. I can't run the food workshops. And because of COVID, we haven't been able to maintain those relationships over shared table lunches, any training or any food workshops. So we've continued to work 2 days a week. I have two fabulous volunteers, young ladies who are both qualified nutritionists, which has been interesting. But what they wanted to do too was learn. So they've actually learnt to, they've learnt to make meals with no recipes, how to cobble things together, how to make things, how to make, you know, ingredients stretch, because we use fresh produce. So it is really easy, you know. So they've learned a lot, but then I've also been teaching them baking. So we always make something special while they're in. So that's a bit of payback. To me, again, it's got to be a two-way street.
Exactly.
So we've been maintaining our meals delivery service and also fresh fruit and veg boxes. So we're working with some new people too that I've never come across in this previous 10 years. So I'm working with some rough sleepers, refugee families who have no income whatsoever, and maintained a no contact service for the seniors that have other health issues that potentially COVID, you know, would do its work on, which is obviously not what we want.
No.
So been able to maintain connection with them as well. So as a result of all of this, finally this year, decided to put into action what I've been talking about and planning for a couple of years, which was to put what I do in a digital format that's accessible to everybody. So Vic Health put it out that they wanted availability, regardless of whether COVID or anything else, any other disaster is happening, for them to help solve the problem of food insecurity in the 0 to 25-year-old age bracket. So the area that I sit in greatly is probably 16 to 25. So, which is really what we do in the kitchen. So we're actually taking that. We've now put a format together for an online course and working on that. So now it's more video time to start to put that together. And it's about shopping smart, ignoring the specials at the supermarket and looking for specials that actually keep money in their pocket and save them money. Minimal ingredients and minimal utensils in the kitchen. Because I noticed when we used to do kids cooking classes, they didn't have utensils at home. They don't have the latest equipment. So I'm going back to initially to only working with in ingredients, butter, salt and pepper. And you being a chef would understand that we don't need, you know, hundreds of dollars of different ingredients and complicated processes to start with. No. Let's get the basics in place.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
Also, I'm using a peeler, a vegetable peeler, a knife, a fork, and a spoon.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Obviously, if they happen to have one, which would be great. But that's how really grassroots we're doing that, because I see that as something missing in the marketplace.
Well, I
You know, they
started off every time I'd walk into a kitchen, I had a kit that weighed probably 100 kilos. So I used to carry with me towards the later part of my career. One, two, maybe three knives at most, and that's enough to cope with anything. But you're right, keeping things simple, making that connection, helping them with their skills, especially with the shopping skills as well. It's something that is often overlooked. But yeah,
yeah.
being able to help people to create and think through things so that they can make their own dishes, perfect.
Yeah, it's interesting because in today's world, you know, the whole media, the whole marketing conglomerate that works against us cooking,
Mm.
because it says we're time poor and we don't have the skills and we don't need to learn, and we all we need to do is get an app or tap something,
It
order it in.
cut across the bag, and there it is.
Exactly. And I'm saying, well, there are so many benefits to cooking at home. One, you're using seasonal produce, which will save you money.
Mm.
We'll show them how to reduce the food waste. Use every single piece of a piece of produce. And to shop smart, planning is everything. And if you plan and engage the whole family, not the parents being the martyrs and having to do everything, but engaging according to their skill level, according to their age, and make it a quality time activity.
Yeah, absolutely. I
You
mean,
know, and it will
spending
make
time. Yeah. So
it will
it's
make such a difference.
exactly, and spending time with family, with others is where the magic really happens. And I mean,
Yeah, and
I'm
even if
really
there's yeah, sorry.
encouraging. Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. It's the back and forth thing. It's encouraging people into the kitchen is something that I stand behind, and especially with bringing kids through to help them get their hands dirty and work with some food, really grow that love and joy of working with food. So yeah, what you're doing is creating that bond between people and food. It's an incredible thing. So
Yeah.
have
The
you
other upside
launched
too,
a like have you launched yet, or is that something that's coming up in the near future?
we're working on it right now. So we've got the outline. We've got content being cobbled together. I'm thinking at this stage, probably that will launch the end of November.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll be self-paced, because obviously everything will be there on site. And then we'll look in the new year, you know, hopefully to be able to get back to adding sort of face-to-face workshops. It'll be, yeah, I'm really excited about it now, having sat back and thought about it, because you know me, the digital world kind of like, yeah, I'm not sure I want to be part of that. But now I can see that I can still make a really good impact on people, you know, on kids' behaviours,
Yeah.
you know, as well as people saving money, you know, and cooking and knowing. The other thing is them knowing what is actually on their plates. It's interesting. People say, oh, well, I bought this. And I said, yeah, but have you actually read the label? You know, you've got 42 additives or
Mm-hmm.
numbers or something in that food. If you just did this, then you've got the perfect meal on your plate.
Yeah, and
And
that's
it
right.
doesn't have to be pretty. It's about making it edible, and
Yeah,
it's not hard. But to be fair, a lot of people have no idea,
yeah,
either because they chose not to take notice, or they weren't, like you and I, taught as we were growing up, where food was central to our well-being and
yeah,
healthiness.
yeah. That's right. And
It's
it
the
goes
whole
even yeah.
thinking's changed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it goes even deeper than that. I mean, I remember standing beside both my grandmother and my mother, watching, participating. And I tell you what, that time in the kitchen with both those women, is something that is a core driver for me. Every time I cook, I feel a connection to both mother and grandmother. So there's a profound connection through food.
It was interesting. I never saw, to be honest, I never saw a big market with young people. I thought, you know, they have the money for those that have the money. They just tap and go. They can just do whatever they want. But earlier in this year, I came across a bunch of, well, I think there are about 400 people under 30, and they were saying, that would be awesome. We want to know about that. And so that has been part of the driver for this year. And that was just before COVID hit us. So COVID has actually cemented that for me.
Yeah.
But it was that they said, we want to hear. So not only, so we've got the training program coming together, but on a more personal level, there's a couple of things. We've started a YouTube channel trips over the last 3 years, because my trips are always focused on local produce and cooking with locals and understanding local ingredients. So we've started to put all of those into short videos, just as a tasters of, well, you know, this is what I say, hey, but here's an example of what I do. And then also, because the young ones were so intrigued about the fact that my whole life has been driven by food, from the simple point of that I was brought up to cook everything from scratch. Why? Because the era I was born in, there was no cafes or delis. In fact, I was 9 years old before we had our first fridge. So that's why I come from an angle of no food waste, because that was how I've lived. So I've also started a blog, just put the first one together, of the journey of my life, which I thought anyone would want to know. But even last week, when I was telling a few seniors, they said, oh, please, can you print them and give them to us in a book form? I think there's going to be 8 or 10 episodes, if you like, that I've put together. We've only just finished number 1. About why cook, because everyone says to me, why cook? And I said, well, these are all the reasons why you should cook. So 3-pronged attack. Then hopefully when COVID is over and we're free to meet up with people, have that human connection again, and travel, even just locally to start with, is then to actually bring those 3 things together, which will then tell the whole story. But at the moment, we're utilising this restricted, life to, get the ground rules in place.
And true, just lay that good foundation. But the way I see it is you're coming from that angle of care, compassion, just the wanting to help others. And I mean, what the work you've been doing with community food projects over the last 10 years and more have made you the person that you are now. It's just an incredible gift that you're continually giving out there. So I guess to finish off, I mean, you would have been at some point. I've lost my train of thought, but what I was going to say is, if someone is considering doing something for themselves that is a little bit into that scary zone, what advice would you offer that person?
What do you mean
whether it's a food-based project, or it's going out to help others in the community, or whether it's just simply cooking a meal for a neighbour, what advice would you have for that person?
Well, it's actually because I've just been talking with some women in the UK who, because the UK have just, the Parliament has just voted almost unanimously to reject giving school kids free school meals from now and over the Christmas holiday period.
Okay, it's an interesting decision.
I think we're talking 1 million plus kids. It was an awful lot. I can't remember the numbers exactly, unfortunately. And they're exacerbated well, you know, this is so wrong. And then one lady popped up and said, but what can I do? So I'd given her a couple of suggestions because she said, I'd like to help a family, but I don't know how to connect with them. And I said, okay, try this. I said, because families sometimes don't want to connect with you directly. And that's actually a good thing because that actually maintains their privacy and their dignity.
Yes.
In times when it's really hard for them. And she came back to me, that was yesterday, and she came back to me this morning and she said, thank you so much. She said, I've had a conversation with a school, but they've said, oh, we don't accept food. They'll think about it. So I've gone back and said, all right, tenacity, do not give up. You have an idea, talk to some people, and then work out how best. The idea might not look exactly how you started with, but it's a start. The fact that you think about something. So then it's connecting with people that can help pave the way. So just keep going. The end result might not be, so where I am today with my kitchen is not where I thought I would end up being when I started 10 years ago with that very first thought, how can I give job seekers a better chance in life? And here I am today, you know, doing a multitude of other things, but have tried different projects along the way. And not all of them have come to fruition, even though we did research and had research papers written. The market here, there are ideas that I picked up in the UK from some social enterprises, but our market wasn't ready for them. Our market is still not ready for them.
No, that's right. It's a continually evolving. And regardless of what you do, as long as you've got that care factor that you want to do something, just start doing it. The rest will fall in place as you make your mistakes and learn from those mistakes. But anytime you're helping someone with food, you're onto a very good thing. Well, Christine, thank you so much for your time. And
you're welcome.
All I can say is please don't stop. Just keep on doing what you're doing.
Well, I will keep going as long as I can.
Good.
I'm actually, to be honest, I'm ready to cut loose and travel, even if it is only to the other side of Melbourne, so I can actually go to a different market and meet up with some other food lovers who are also in the same space as me, and doing awesome things. So thanks again for the opportunity.
You're very welcome, and all the very best with the new project. And of course, to find out more about what Christine's up to, have a look at the links below. Certainly follow with the journey, and take care.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
Catch you. Bye.
Bye.